So what we're going to do is have a look at a bit of rejuvenation pruning. So this Hebe, as you can see, is got nothing here and all the growth is on the end, so it doesn't look particularly good. And of course the snow, when the snow comes, it loads it down and it absolutely flattens it, so it's no good at all. So what you've got to do then is do some rejuvenation. You've got to be careful with some shrubs, but with the Hebe, if you look here, we're doing a bit of detective work. There's some little tiny buds low down, and you know you're safe to cut it right back to the base. And that's one of the ways you can sort of tell whether you can prune it back. It's the same on Santolina, the same on Phlomis. A lot of plants, even Forsythia, Deutzia, Colwitsia, you can cut them really hard back to get them to rejuvenate. So all you've got to do really is to cut back to these little tiny buds right down here. I'm just using a pair of secateurs. It's quite tough actually, it's tougher than I thought, that one branch. And once you've got the sort of, once you've got your kind of eye in for the amount you're going to remove, just keep chopping them back. And although it's going to look bad for a short while, give it a couple of months and this will be shooting back. Obviously you'd avoid it. It's a New Zealand plant, the Hebe, so you know you don't want to be doing it when it's really heavy frosts or anything like that. And if you wanted to, you could leave it till the end of March, but there we go, just cut that one. And so you're going to just really cut it back like that all the way over, and that will rejuvenate it. And there we go. Okay, I'll just remove a portion just so you can see. So you're going to end up with that sort of size. There's your new buds, and that will fill out. And it's the same with the Santolina over there. And it's equally the same thing with the dogwood. We cut that hard back to a stool, right back to here, or even lower if you want to, so it sends up new shoots. So rejuvenation is a great way for restoring plants, you know, back to their former glory, and it gives vigor and strength, and they'll be flowering again. So what we've got here is a Phlomous Fruticosa, and this is another one that we can do some rejuvenation or some regenerative pruning. You can see that it's gone out of shape. It's not a particularly nice looking shrub at the moment. It's probably taken a bit of hammer with the scaffolding, and so we've got to cut it back. So there's some really nice shoots low down. You can see we've got a group here. We could cut it back to this one. We could cut it back to here. We could even cut it lower. There's even some shoots right down into the base of the tree. So you can see it wouldn't be too difficult to cut it back to this height. And there's lots of nice shoots coming from here, which that would really already make it a lot better. Now when it comes to pruning, you can prune back a lot of this kind of material in March or early April, but with evergreens we tend to leave it a little bit later into May, so we'll have a look at that in just a little while. But this one certainly we can really chop. I see it's actually breaking off there, and there's nothing wrong, and it would be even better to rejuvenate it cutting it back a little bit harder. So in order to do a full rejuvenation on this, you really want to get the loppers in and to get in a lot sort of deeper with it. Now with this one, don't worry, because this one will shoot back, and sometimes because if you look at the plant here, this will kind of tell you. You can see there are shoots all the way down. There's one down here, and you know that you're safe to prune it back. Look at that one, a little one just appearing from the bark there. And so with this type of plant, this Santolina brachyglottis, you are safe to cut it back. But you've got to know your plant. Some of them will tell you, this one's telling you quite clearly it's safe to cut back hard. Same with Perovskia adricifolia. So with rhododendrons it can be a little bit tricky. These rhododendrons about 20 odd years ago were cut back incredibly hard to rejuvenate them. they'd grown really big, and you can see they did send up shoots, but the internodes are very, very long, and you can see that there's not a lot of growth low down on that stem. However, you know, at the base there is some nice shoots, so you could cut that back really hard to really get it to send up some new shoots, more compact. So what we did with the rhododendron behind me is I selectively pruned it to maintain the shape, and the beauty of that is that we've got good short internodes and a nice compact plant rather than the sparse sort of internodal length on the rhododendron the other side. The only thing is with this, you would need to get inside and remove all the dead wood. So if you look across here, you can see that inside it there's a lot of dead material. So you have to get inside, clean all that out and selectively thin it. Nothing to stop you though, reduce the height. And you can take a good couple of meters off these rhododendrons. There are one or two which very smooth bark rhododendrons. You have to be careful because some of them don't respond to heavy pruning. The general rule about pruning evergreens is to wait until about May time, so the frosts have gone, late May, so you know it's safe to cut it back. We'll just have a look at one or two plants that you could do that with. So plants like the cherry laurel, Prunus loriceraceus, this is safe to chop back really hard. You can cut back that sort of into May and you will get new shoots coming from it. I cut a hedge back really hard for some friends a little while ago, really hard back, and no problem. There are lots of shoots that it will come from low down. So on a lot of evergreens they have, you can see like little scarry buds on the side, and wherever you got these little tiny bumps, it will regenerate from them, so you always know you're capable of doing that. And so on cherry laurel, not a problem at all. Just over to the right I can see a Viburnum Davidii, which would be the same. So let's have a look at the Viburnum Davidii, and you can see on this one again there are little tiny buds and scars. It's just like a little line that you see on roses, on Mahonia, and if you see those lines you know you're safe to rejuvenate and get your new plant back. And it's a really good technique. We'll show you some Potentillas, and we'll have a look at lavender next, because lavender can be a little bit 50-50, an old lavender and old rosemary, and there's no guarantees with that you will rejuvenate it, but we'll try and show you ones you can and ones that you can't. So when it comes to pruning lavender, you've got to look at it closely. The normal way is to shear it every year quite hard, about an inch so into the shoots, so you cut the old flower heads off but cut them a bit lower, so you are shearing a bit. It keeps it nice and compact, but of course sometimes you forget and the lavender gets older and woodier and you end up with this kind of thing with lavender and rosemary. And what you've got to do is you've got to look at it and see, is there any shoots low down? And in this case there are some shoots just here, so that's good. But if you didn't have any shoots and it went really silvery and woody, then there's a good chance it would die. So there's no guarantee when you cut a lavender back hard it's going to live. But if you've got the shoots, then the plant is telling you that that will be okay, you can rejuvenate it. So literally by cutting hard back to the shoots, this will rejuvenate this lavender and make it a better plant in the future. So with Potentilla, as far as rejuvenation goes, this one again, slightly gone sort of out of shape, but right down in the bottom is a couple of shoots, and you can see that you'd be safe to cut this one back really hard to rejuvenate it. So Potentilla is another one that you can cut back right to the ground and rejuvenate it. Just have a little check to make sure there are one or two little shoots, but generally speaking it's really good at putting new leaves on, so it's a good one to rejuvenate. And round about March, April time, now we're into April, would be an ideal time to cut this one back hard. So even plants like Philadelphus and Deutzia and plants like that, you can, if you want to, cut them back to rejuvenate them. So I can see shoots here certainly that are you know, would certainly make this a better plant if we cut it really hard back. But it's okay at the minute. This one can be just thinned out a little bit and it will be fine. And there's some nice good shoots here which will be ideal to prune back to. Then of course there are the bigger plants that you can have, like the Fatsia japonica, and you can see through here there are lots of good shoots, but the only difference I would do with the Fatsia is to leave it until May, and then I would cut it back then. So that's a little bit of information on rejuvenation. So you always can give your plants a second chance if they've gone old and woody and they're not doing what they can. Hopefully, you know, if you can see those shoots slow down, then you're safe to cut it back. If you can see some little bulges on the side of the stem, you can chop it back and you can rejuvenate your plants and restore them to their former glory.